when it comes to tobacco control, and we've discussed this before, you and I, and with others on this show, is that at some point, right, there is a tobacco control industrial complex, and that's funded by the cigarette industry. And so many states actually are also funded by the Master Settlement Agreement. At some point, it's not in their best interest to have smoking go down to zero.
So right now, the big the product class that is being demonized is what is being called in the press illegal Chinese vapes, right? So what these are is illegal flavored disposable nicotine vapes. More than 9 out of 10 people Americans who are using those products are adults, not teens. There's a very well-funded effort to convince the public that most of the people who use those products are teens, and that they only exist to lure teens. We're talking 10 to 13 million adults using those products. And so then, okay, who wants to get rid of them? Who wants to remove them from the market shelves? Obviously, the Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids and Parents Against Vape, the Truth Initiative, and many others. Who else wants to get rid of them? 2 of America's biggest big tobacco companies are on record talking to their investors, saying those are the products that are undermining our cigarette sales. So we have some very strange bedfellows where this is like Baptists and bootleggers, going back to the 1930s, where big tobacco wants to get rid of them. All the anti-vaping organizations want to get rid of them, but for entirely different reasons. And, ironically, Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids is now promoting policies that will help big tobacco.
Another major standout is the growth in adult vapors in the U.S., and we've been talking about that. According to Altria's 2025 Q1 earnings report, quote, in 2024, there were 18 million vapors in the U.S. Today, that number is 20.5 million, with 14.5 million using disposables, most of which are illicit. So now, this is amazing that this market keeps growing year over year. But of course, a huge chunk of this market, and I believe the number is around 60%, is what Altria said, is that are disposables, and the majority of them are illicit.
The unit sales analyses that I've seen show that sales of disposable nicotine vapes have basically tripled over the past 5 years. And if you track that back to 2020, which is when the first Trump administration ordered the FDA to prohibit sales of flavored pod-based vapes, what happens is sales of the pod-based vapes suddenly starts to drop, and American adults who were trying to quit smoking shifted basically en masse and voted with their wallets and their pocketbooks and shifted to flavored disposables. I remember walking around Manhattan in the 2018, 2019 time frame. I saw adults everywhere were vaping, and very often with a Juul. And when I would ask them what flavor they were using, it was always mango. And now I have to say I see a lot less adults vaping. So this is anecdotal but this is on the street. But every time I see one, and I stop and very politely ask, what are you vaping? Do you believe this is safer than cigarettes? But I would say half of them say no. So they're misinformed. They're almost always vaping disposables.